Oh hey, welcome back to the vlog. It's your boy. And today we're going to talk about the 14 precepts of just and generous Christianity that I'm getting from this book by Brian McLaren, The Great Spiritual Migration, How the World's Largest Religion is Seeking a Better Way to be Christian. And I really loved this book, and I love this author a lot. And first off, it's not purely his idea. I'm kind of double stealing here. He adapted it from Thich Nhat Hanh's 14 Precepts of Engaged Buddhism. And so he adapted it. I'm adapting it. Stealing like all great artists do. So I've been thinking about these things a lot, and I really wanted to share them with you because I think they're awesome and super helpful and a lovely way of viewing things. And this video will be very similar to an older vlog I did about the 8 points of progressive Christianity according to progressivechristianity.org. And I love bringing up lists like this because lists sometimes can give us a good foundation to build up from. So as Philip DeFranco says, let's just jump right into it. 1. Humility. Do not be idolatrous about any doctrine, theory, belief, or ideology, even Christian ones, or the ones that your faith is. Christian systems of thought or belief are guiding means, a pathway rather than a destination. Yeah, there's this whole Buddhist teaching of the teacher pointing to the moon and talking about how you're supposed to look at the moon when I point to the moon, not at the finger. Religion, religious texts, teachings, symbols are the finger. And it's all pointing to something else. All religions are signposts pointing to the divine, and we can't get them mixed up. No religion has dibs on God. Number 2, lifelong learning. Do not think the knowledge you presently possess is changeless, complete, and absolute truth. Avoid being narrow-minded and bound to present views. Be open to the Holy Spirit and practice childlike humility, demonstrating curiosity about others' viewpoints. Truth is found in life and not merely in conceptual knowledge. Be ready to learn throughout your entire life and to observe reality in yourself and in the world at all times. Yes, I absolutely love this because when Jesus sends his disciples out, thus making them apostles, because apostles means to send out, he tells them, now go out into the world and make disciples, make more disciples. Disciples means student. So he's pretty much just saying, go out into the world and make more students, more learners of this way that I taught you. And so to be a disciple of Jesus, we are always students. And we must always be open to learning. One of my favorite quotes from Richard Rohr is, often the biggest obstacle to our next experience of God is our last experience of God. Because we get this big revelation and understanding of who God is or what God is or how God is, and we could cling to it so hard that we're not open to the next revelation. And that goes with anything, not just stuff about God. Number 3, gentleness. Do not force others, including children, by any means whatsoever to adopt your views, whether by authority, threat, money, propaganda, or even education. However, through compassionate dialogue, help others renounce fanaticism and narrow-mindedness and be ready to gently and humbly share what gives you life, whenever it is appropriate. Yes, this is a different view on evangelism. A type of evangelism that isn't about forcing your ideas on others, making sure that they think just like you, but about being open and engaging, gentle, and being able to gently and humbly share what gives you life. The reason you're sharing it isn't because you're trying to save them from hell or something like that, or trying to make them like you, but you're sharing it because it gives you life, so therefore it's just naturally flowing out of you because you want to share with them what fills you up. And maybe they'll be interested, not because you're trying to force it on them or not because you're trying to give them some sort of ultimatum, but because maybe they want a little bit of what fills you with life to fill up their life. And in one of his other books, Brian McLaren brought up this awesome idea about how usually we feel like we have to make 2 choices. Either weaken our faith in order to engage with others who are different than me, or have a very strong faith and exclude and not engage with any that think different than me. But there's a third choice, which is to have a strong faith, but it's a faith so strong that it enables you to engage with others that are different than you because you have a different kind of faith. You are confident within yourself and your own faith and your own spiritual journey and practice. And part of that spiritual journey and practice is engaging with others. Part of your faith is to engage with those that are different than you. Number 4, compassion. Do not avoid suffering or close your eyes before suffering. Do not lose awareness of the existence of suffering in the life of the world. Find ways to be with those who are suffering and to be an agent of comfort and healing. Awaken yourself and others to the reality of suffering in the world, and do the same regarding joy, so you can weep with those who weep and rejoice with those who rejoice. According to Pope Francis, one of my favorite people, one of the problems with society is that we've forgotten how to weep, how to truly look at those who are suffering and actually feel something. And that's really dangerous when we lose that. So we need to consistently be finding ways that we can feel compassion, first of all, and then do something about it. Pope Francis also said, one of my favorite quotes ever, "I prefer a church which is bruised, hurting, and dirty because it has been out on the streets, rather than a church which is unhealthy from being confined and from clinging to its own security." Ooh. Number 5, generosity. Do not accumulate wealth while millions are hungry. Do not take as the aim of your life fame, profit, wealth, or sensual pleasure. Live simply and share time, energy, opportunity, and material resources with those who are in need. Yeah. The whole Protestant principle, which was one of the things that gave rise to capitalism, which is this idea that the more successful and wealthy we are, the more proof that God is on our side. Yeah, that idea, 1, isn't biblical. 2, can get really dangerous really fast. And 3, people just don't buy into anymore. It's clear. Let's leave that stuff behind. Let's leave behind prosperity gospel stuff. Let's leave behind the more money I have, the more God is on my side stuff. That's not going to work. If anything, God is more on the side of those who are the most generous, not the ones who accumulate the most for their own selves. Like duh. Number 6, love. Love wins. Do not maintain anger or hatred. Learn to penetrate and transform them when they are still seeds in your consciousness. As soon as they arise, turn your heart toward God in order to see and understand the nature of your hatred, so it will not be translated into word or deed. Make love your highest goal. Yeah. Paul in Corinthians calls this whole thing the way of love. And I long for the day when someone brings up the word Christians and the first thing people think is, oh yeah, those are the people who never stop loving people and trying to spread love in the world. Because unfortunately today, a lot of other things come to mind when Christians are brought up. Number 7, serenity. Do not lose yourself in dispersion and in your surroundings. Dwell in the presence and peace of God to come back to what is happening in the present moment. Be in touch with what is wondrous, refreshing, and healing both inside and around you. Plant seeds of joy, peace, and understanding in yourself in order to facilitate the work of transformation in the depths of your consciousness. Yes, serenity, mindfulness, meditation, practicing presence, being fully aware, fully present, fully engaged. I've said before, I think one of the things that can make the church actually last and not die is that each pastor that gets licensed or certified or whatever to lead a congregation should learn the doctrine and theology and how to properly deal with people and talk to people, but they should also learn and get certified in teaching meditation and mindfulness, things like that, because we need it now more than ever, and we're going to continue really, really needing to learn it. Learning to be in the present moment, learning to be free from stress, learning to be mindful, learning to be serene, learning to have inner peace. Eastern religions do a good job at putting that as the number one priority of spirituality. Western religions don't do that great a job at it. Number 8, reconciliation. Be careful with your words. Do not utter words that can create discord and cause the community to break. Make every effort to reconcile and resolve all conflicts, however small. As Jesus himself said, "Blessed be the peacemakers." To be a follower of Jesus is to tremendously care about peacemaking and reconciliation. I even love that Paul even refers to his work in 2 Corinthians as the ministry of reconciliation. Like, that's his job. I love using that for my own self. Like, that's my job, to participate in the ministry of reconciliation, spreading the good news to everyone that God loves them, that they are in God, and through Jesus they are reconciled unto God, no matter what they've done in life. And then also seeking reconciliation between humans constantly, figuring out ways that we can continue to work in reconciliation, not continue to work in separation and exclusion like some Christians are known for. No. This is the ministry of reconciliation. 9, communication. Do not say untruthful things for the sake of personal interest or to impress people. Do not utter words that cause division and hatred. Do not spread news that you do not know to be certain. Do not criticize or condemn things of which you are not sure. Always speak truthfully and constructively. Have the courage to speak out about situations of injustice, even when doing so may threaten your own safety. Yes. We should speak out about injustice. Christians should be the first to speak out against injustice. Unfortunately, there's a lot of church leaders and ministers who feel like, injustice, that's a political thing. I'm doing spiritual things. I'm not going to talk about that. That's totally not how Jesus taught. Of course, we need to talk about injustice. That's the job of a spiritual leader, especially a Christian leader. Yeah, and don't say untruthful things just for the sake of personal interest. That's a common thing among religious people, not just Christians, among a lot of religious people who believe it's okay to spread lies, to spread fake studies that have been disproven just so that they could share their message. It's pretty sick, awful stuff, but the truth will set you free. Number 10, justice. Do not use your faith community for personal gain or profit or politicize it for partisan ends. A faith community, however, should take a clear stand against oppression and injustice and should strive to change unjust and unhealthy situations without being manipulated or controlled by outside forces or interests. This reminds me of the great sin of the creation of the moral majority, the religious right back in the 80s with Reagan, started by people like Jerry Falwell and Francis Schaeffer and others, which are really responsible for making the Republican Party look like all it cares about is gay marriage and abortion. And now we're at a place where a lot of people look at the religious right and are very confused when they try to compare them to the life and teachings of Jesus. It has deeply, widely separated. Number 11, vocation. Do not live with a vocation, which is a job, that is harmful to humans and nature. Do not invest in companies that deprive others of their chance to live. Select a vocation that helps realize your ideal of compassion. Yes, because everything is spiritual. Not just that thing you go to where you study and talk about and pray about spiritual things. Your entire life, day to day, from beginning to end, is spiritual. Every decision you make is spiritual. Therefore, the job you choose should be aligned with your values and your principles and your choice to choose compassion. This whole dualistic idea of, I got my spiritual life over here and then my regular life over here where I participate in things that are potentially harmful, that's not going to cut it anymore. Number 12, nonviolence. Do not kill and do no harm, and do not stand by when others seek to do so. Find creative, just, and non-violent ways to prevent or end conflicts and to promote and strengthen peace. Yes. I love figures like Martin Luther King Jr. because people look at him And it's like one of the things you think is, yes, that's what religion should look like. Their faith enabling them to find creative and just and nonviolent ways to prevent and end conflicts. Which, again, is another reason why today the religious right looks so confusing, because it seems like a lot of them think that the answer is just going to war and killing more people, killing them before they kill us. What? That's not just or creative, and definitely not the way of Jesus. Number 13, property. Possess nothing that should belong to others. Respect the property of others, but prevent others from profiting from human suffering or the suffering of other species on earth. The book of Leviticus in the Bible gives us this radical idea that the earth is the Lord's and everything in it. We are just guests. We're only here for a little bit. And while we are here, let's try to do our best to leave it better than it was when we got here. And profiting from taking advantage of the earth or taking advantage of others is one of the worst kinds of evil. And that is one of the injustices Christians should be speaking out against. Last one, number 14, body. Do not mistreat your body. Learn to treat it with respect. Practice self-control. Sexual expression should not take place without love and corresponding commitment. In sexual relations, be aware of future sufferings that may be caused. To preserve the happiness of others, respect the rights and commitments of others. Be fully aware of the responsibility of bringing new lives into the world. Be aware of the ways your body connects you to all creation, and be grateful for every meal, every heartbeat, and every breath. Yes, I love that. It also makes me think, so often Christianity has been imagined as just this hardcore purity preaching and anti-sex, anti-sexual expression in every single way. But I think there's just this kind of twisting of a message at the core of it all, which is be responsible because sex is a humongous deal. In sexual relations, be aware of future sufferings that may be caused. So many people just sleep around and don't care about the future sufferings that may be caused. And be fully aware of the responsibility of bringing new lives into the world, because it's a big deal. Not because we're anti-sex. I feel like in certain ways the pendulum has swung so far from anti-sex, don't talk about sex, purity, abstinence, so far from that to now a point of like, hey, we all have sex, be open about sexual expression, don't let anybody tell you, don't let anybody judge you about who you decide to have sex with and how often. So far, we've swung so far that way that I'm afraid that we're not talking enough about responsibility. We're not talking enough about trying to be responsible about the sufferings we cause others. Trying to be responsible about the suffering we even cause ourselves through just sexual partner after sexual partner after sexual partner. It's just a big deal and we should be responsible about it. But of course, that's not all what this precept is about. It's simply about being aware of your way that your body connects to all creation. Be very aware of your body, take care of your body, and be responsible with your body. So there you go. 14 precepts of just and generous Christianity. There's something to think about for a bit, talk about with others. Talk to me about it if you want. Leave some comments and let me know your favorites in this list. Let me know if you didn't agree with some of the things in this list. Let me know if you want to know more about some of the stuff in this list. Let's talk about this stuff. I love talking about this more than anything. Thanks for watching. I love you guys. See you later.